this is Tony from Kate's Crafty Closet, and today I have this ATC card that I made for a swap that I did last month for a scrapbooking store that's located here in Florida. And I will put the link down in the description box so you can check out their website, because they do monthly ATC swaps that you mail in 6 and you receive 6 back, as long as you just include a self-addressed stamped envelope. And they do ATC coins and they do regular ATC cards. So this is the theme for this month was bees. So each month, and it's listed on the website what the theme is and what products you have to use in the cards that you make. So let's go ahead and get started on how I made this card today. So this is a ATC card. It is measured by 2.5 by 3.5, and this is just some Reinker mixed media paper. You can use cardstock, watercolor paper, whatever you have on hand. Whatever mediums that you're going to use, just use accordingly. So we're going to start off with the background. We're going to use distressoxide wild honey and the distressoxide tea dye. So I'm going to pull out my blending brushes, foam, and I'm going to go with the wild honey first, and I'm just going to apply it to the ATC card. And the amount of ink you put on here is completely up to you. I'm going to do like a variation, like it's not going to be a consistent color throughout, just because I like that look. Okay, so there is oxides I like, they really blend amazing. So it's like you don't have, they're almost effortless, or at least for me, they're effortless, and I like that. So I'm going to go in with the tea dye, and I'm just going to go around the edges with the tea dye. It gives it just a little bit of, you know, gradation and ombre-ish. So, and I just like that we have different colors of the yellow and the orange, and then we have some of this tea dye, which is a little bit on the brown side, which is perfect for honey, right? Okay, so we're finished with our background. So we're gonna go ahead and wipe up this ink so we don't make a complete mess, right? Okay, so next thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna come in with a stencil from My Favorite Things. This is a chicken wire stencil. You can use any kind of stencil you want, but for today I'm going to use this. So I kind of want to do the corners. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to go in with some rich cocoa memento ink, and I'm going to apply that through the stencil and get a little bit of a honeycomb look going on. Like, I'm not going to go super dark and heavy on it, and I'm just going to dab lightly. If you want the darker effect, you most certainly can do that, but I'm just going lighter. So there we have that one side. Then we're going to go into this one and do the same thing on this opposite corner. And that's perfect for me. I'll put that to the side. And we're going to grab a stamp set from Rubber Stamp Tapestry, also pegstamps.com. This is a bee stamp set. They come in a set like this. You get the beehive, you get some florals, and you get some vine, and you get a bee. Today we're just going to use the bee, and we're going to use the beehive. So I'm going to stamp my beehive in the memento rich cocoa, and this is a guideline for you. This line right here will allow you to, this is how it will stamp out. When you line it up, it will stamp out as it looks on the top of that peg stamp. So I'm just going to go ahead and stamp our beehive. There we go. Doesn't have to be perfect at all. So then I'm going to come in with some ink on 3, blackout ink, and stamp the bees on here. So I'm going to use my mark, my line, so I know my bee will be right side up. And I'm just going to randomly stamp our bees. And you can put as many or as little as you want onto your ATC card. So we're going to go one right there, and we're good. We're good with that. So we'll put this away. And then we're going to go in with some, we pull out a scrap piece of paper because we're going to apply some embossing powder. We're going to use this Seth Apter baked texture called Vintage Beeswax. One of my favorite ones from this line. It really is amazing. So we're going to have to do this about 3 times so we get a smooth look on top of it, like that glossy glass effect on it. So I'm going to go in with an embossing pad. You can use whatever embossing pad that you have on hand. I'm going to use my Ink on 3 Juicy ink pad for this. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and apply it with the straight from the pad direct to the project. And I'm going to pull out another piece of paper to pour the embossing powder on top. And we're going to do this approximately 3 times. You can adjust it accordingly. You may do it, you may have to go less, you may have to do it more, but this is a chunky embossing powder, so don't be alarmed that it's not an extra fine. That's why it's called the baked texture, because it has some dimension and stuff to it. So we're going to pull out our heat tool, like warm it up, set it aside, give it a few moments. Okay? And then I'm just going to go ahead and melt it. This is the fun part. Like, this is the magic of it, is watching that powder melt in front of you. It's like, and you can see it as it melts because you get that glossy look for it. That dullness goes away and it becomes glossy. So we're just going to continue until it's all melted. Okay, and that's the first layer. And as you can see on that first layer, that it's splotchy. There is a little bit, it's not like that smooth look that we're kind of going for. And like, just let it dry in between each layer. And then we're going to go in and do the same thing again for the second time. Grab our embossing ink and just apply it directly to our ATC. All right, and then grab our embossing powder, like with a separate sheet of paper, because otherwise it'll stick to all that embossing ink that we applied. And so, like I said, it's chunky, so don't be alarmed by that. And we're going to pour it back into our jar. Okay, and there's a lot more in these baked textures out there available. And then, but this is like one of my favorites, one that I use many times. Because you'll notice the beeswax gives it a little bit of a vintage yellowish tint as well. So that's another cool effect to it. Okay, there we go. And we're going to go one more time. It's like, you notice as each layer comes, and we do, it starts to smooth out that embossing powder. And I missed a little spot right there. Yeah, it starts to smooth out the more layers that you add to it. And it doesn't really take long for it to cool off. It really doesn't. And then we'll go back in and grab that embossing pad one last time. And if you think you need to go a 4th time, you can. You most certainly can. All right. That is that. And then we'll grab the other piece of paper. And then we'll do the final coat of our vintage beeswax baked texture. Okay. All right, and put that back into the bottle. And then we can put that away so we don't knock it off the counter. Here, and here we go. One last time. Heat it up. And watch the magic. And they said the more layers you add, the more it smooths out. So you definitely want to do at least 3. Because of the chunkiness, it doesn't always smooth out on the first or second coat. Okay, so that is the ATC. So as you notice, even with that embossing powder, you can see that it leaves little specks in there. So it added a little bit, texture to it and another dimension to it. So, and then you can add a little sentiment to it. I went ahead and used my my P-Touch label maker, and I created this little sentiment, let it be. You can stamp on it or anything you want. So let's just trim this down. And if you want to do this, put this on there before you do the embossing, you can to seal it, but this time it's okay. And just peel off the backing of this. It's like that P-Touch is amazing when you want to personalize a sentiment or you don't have something that has a sentiment that you're looking for. So there is our little sentiment we have on there called Let It Be, and that is our ATC card and project for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit that thumbs up as well as hit that subscribe button. And also when that notification bell comes up, you want to go ahead and hit that so YouTube will notify you each and every time I upload a new video. And check out my social media links below: Pinterest, Instagram. I have a Facebook group as well that we have fun projects going on. We share, we do Facebook Lives as well, and swaps. So I thank you for joining me today, and you all have a craft today, y'all.